Hey, what's up, everyone? This is JJ Birden, just shooting a quick message to go with my new blog. You probably just saw the blog. You probably accessed this video from the blog, or maybe you didn't. Maybe you just came directly to my YouTube channel. But appreciate you checking this out quickly. I just wanted to share something in conjunction with my blog that I just released about remembering your first, my first NFL touchdown. You just never forget that as a player. But it made me pose the question of, do you remember your first? Do you remember your first? And then what did you learn from it? Now, it could be anything. When I talk about, do you remember your first? It could be your first business meeting, your first business partner you start working with, maybe your first business, perhaps the first conversation you have with your future spouse, maybe the first real conversation you have with your kid. Perhaps you're an athlete, your first touchdown, already said that, first goal, first basket, first marathon run, first mountain you climb. I mean, it could be anything, but the question is, do you remember it? And then more importantly, what did you learn from it? And I ask that because as I shared this blog about my first NFL touchdown, you never forget it. Since I retired, I'm often asked, hey, JJ, what was the highlight of your career? What do you remember the most? There's a lot of things I remember. I obviously remember the 1993 Kansas City Chiefs team. We had a great team. You're playing with Montana. You're playing with Marcus. You got Derek Thomas. We lose in the AFC Championship game. That's pretty obvious. But for me, from a personal standpoint, it's that first touchdown. I never forgot that first touchdown. One, there's a couple of reasons. One, there's a story behind it. And I go into more detail in this story in my new book. If you haven't picked it up, When Opportunity Knocks, 8 Surefire Ways to Take Advantage. It's a pretty cool story about that first touchdown and my uncle and all that other stuff. You got to get the book. You got to read it. You'll enjoy it. But that was my third year in the NFL. The first year I was with Cleveland. I was on IR. I tore my ACL up. Second year I was on the Dallas Cowboy practice squad. We were 1-15. I practiced every day. I thought I was going to play in a game. I never did the whole season. And it wasn't until the third year that I finally really get to play. I mean, I played in the Cleveland Browns preseason, in '89, but, regular season game is where it counts. And it was that third year with the Chiefs. So I had, 2 years in the league I already was credited for, and I hadn't really played in a regular season game. I get activated by the Chiefs. We're playing a game in Seattle, my few hours from my hometown in Portland. My whole family's there, and I score my first NFL touchdown. You definitely never forget that, because that put the exclamation point on a long journey, a long road to get to the NFL. But I learned something else from that moment, because obviously I was excited. I celebrated like crazy. I was on a high. I scored a touchdown on national television and my family's there. What a moment. But the problem was the very next series, the same situation came. See, that first touchdown, I was based on if the two guys blitz. If too many guys came on this side, we didn't have enough guys to block. So my job was to cut it off. And the inside receiver, Rob Thomas, would say, hey, those two guys, if those two guys come, you cut off your route. First touchdown, he says, those two guys, if they come, you cut off your route. I cut off my route. I catch a quick slant from Steve DeBerg. I score a touchdown. The very next series, the same thing happens. Robbie tells me those two guys, if they come, cut off your route. The two guys come. I don't cut off my route. I go up the field. DeBerg gets hit by one of those players, and it was my fault. Why did I miss that? Because I was too busy celebrating and enjoying that first touchdown. And so I learned a lot from that first touchdown, and it's one of the reasons why I remember it so much. First TD, but because of that, excessive mental celebration, I didn't focus on the next play. I lost my concentration, and I wasn't able to duplicate that success, and it really cost us a series. So that's why I like to ask that question to people. What is your first, and what did you learn from it? Because we know we make mistakes. We always make mistakes. And it's pretty obvious what those mistakes were. And it's so easy to identify the lesson there. We know what we did wrong. We know what we need to correct. And we just don't do it again. But our wins and our victories, we also can learn from as well. There's always something you can learn. And so when you have those successes, no matter what they are, you have those wins, you should, yes, celebrate, but don't celebrate too long to where you lose your focus, you lose your concentration. But analyze it and try to review it and see what the nugget is. See what the lesson is that you can learn. Because if you can pinpoint that, then you put yourself in a position to give a repeat performance. You know, be able to duplicate that success. And ultimately, that's going to make you better as you continue to do it over and over and over. I never forgot that first touchdown for obvious reasons. But the lesson I learned was don't over-celebrate. You know, you can enjoy the moment, but get back on track. We adopted a phrase from one of our coaches. I think it was Frank Gantz with the Atlanta Falcons. He said, one snap and clear. Actually, I think it was Marty Schottenheimer that did this one snap and clear. Meaning that every play, when the ball snapped, that's one play. When the whistle's blown, the play is over. One snap and clear. No matter what happened on that play, whether good or bad, you forget about it. One snap and clear, so that when the next play comes up, your full attention is on that next play. You're concentrating right, and you improve your chance for success on that next play. That worked for me throughout my career because I never forgot the mistake. I learned the one snap and clear, and I went on to play 7 more years in the NFL at 5'10", 157 pounds. And it was, you know, that first mistake made a big difference because I didn't let that over-celebrating affect my ability to focus on the next play and to duplicate that success. So, but, of course, we never forget that first touchdown. There it is. I'm telling you, get the book. You can go to my website, jjbirden.com. You can actually read the first part of it for free, but you got to hear the story. And what's cool about it is that what I learned was sometimes you have to borrow the belief of other people. You know, you have to borrow other people's belief in you until you have your own. And that's what took place with my uncle. But remember the message. What was your first? And what did you learn from it?